What's up, guys? This is the podcast where everyone knows your name. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Tyler. And this is our brand new podcast. And we are 30 and nerdy.
29.
Okay? Sure, you're a couple months from being 30.
You gotta give me just those couple months I have left.
Okay.
Before I'm over the hill like you.
Well, it's not over the hill. That's another 10 years away.
Ooh. Sorry about the 40-year-olds out there. He didn't mean it.
Sorry about that. So, this is our podcast. It's our first official podcast.
We can't go wrong after that cool intro. That song that Kyle did for us.
Yes, that is my cousin Kyle. That is original music. I sent him a message and said, hey, me and Josh are getting together. We're doing this thing. I want you to create the music.
And the boy came through.
And within like 15 minutes, the man sends that back to me. It's just, he's amazing.
Kyle always comes through.
He always does. And
I might just have to tell him that.
I might just have to do that.
Love you, Kyle.
He's gonna hate you.
I love you.
So, and if you look at our Facebook page, the original design for 30 Nerdy was created by David.
David Nunez.
One of your best friends, and a very talented artist. Very bright mind as well as instrumentalist. Maybe him and Kyle could fuse together and create an even bigger theme song for when we move forward. I don't think the world would
be ready.
No, they wouldn't be ready. Nerd would not be ready for that. So, we're doing this podcast, and you might think, well...
It'd be like a musical thermal detonator.
Oh my gosh.
It would be the A-bomb of musicians.
It would be the end game.
Top.
It would be epic.
We'll try that next time.
Yeah, we'll try that next time.
Thanks for your help, dudes.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you. So, we're doing this podcast, and you're probably thinking, well, okay, there's over 600,000 podcasts in the world. That's true. Found that out. Why should we listen to this one? Well, listen, nerd
You probably
culture,
shouldn't.
You probably shouldn't. You probably don't care. We're just doing it for ourselves. You know what? If you don't care, we don't care. So
I might care a little bit.
Well, yeah, but we're having fun. Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
This is fun. This is fun. We've been having fun planning this whole thing. Mm-hmm. We've been having fun talking back and forth and just getting to be ourselves and hang out with each other and talk about the things we love.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of it is really, neither one of us are by any means experts on, critiquing.
Sure. I'm not a film critic.
Cinema and,
I'm not a comic critic.
We just
I'm not a critic.
Spend most of our time talking about this stuff anyway, and we do happen to be pretty knowledgeable about it.
Yeah.
From, as much as you can be as a fan. And we both find that we're two of the guys that, a new movie comes out, people want to know what's up, they want to get the skinny on it, or they have questions.
They get our opinion.
Something about it was confusing for them. They'll ask our opinion on things, ask us to clear things up, and I don't mind being that guy. It's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, I was at rehearsal tonight, and probably 5 or 6 people pulled me aside and said, "Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. Have you seen it?" Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Mm-hmm. What'd you think? What'd you think? What'd you think? Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's exactly why we want to do this. Because people do care about our opinion on this nerd culture. Not just comic book stuff, but, video game stuff like that.
I like to think so.
There's
this meme that was going around this past week. This teacher had put this big sign on his door talking about, he's going to see Endgame with his brother on Wednesday at the earliest.
Yes.
And he's like, if any of you spoil this, you're going to wish that Thanos gets to you before me or something like that. And I got tagged no less than 5 times on that. Like, is this you? I feel this had to have been you.
I feel you said this.
I did have a day where I was a little worried because some of the kids had seen it.
Well, we had to wait till Saturday, but it came out Thursday.
Yeah. Before we started, we agreed that we weren't going to start talking about Endgame.
It's
but
impossible.
Here we are. If you haven't seen Endgame, Go see Endgame. What are you doing? Go hit the pause button.
Yes.
Go see it.
Then come back.
And then next time...
Well, maybe to be fair, we'll give them a whole week or so before we do an in-game podcast.
I think that's a great idea.
We'll be fair.
Spend the next time just talking about in-game. But for now, we're going to talk about something even more extraordinary than in-game.
Us.
And that's us.
Absolutely.
No, I joke. I kid. Nothing beats in-game.
Well, we're close.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of a big deal.
We have a podcast and everything.
Exactly.
We're really not those guys. We're just...
No, we're really not. We're actually pretty cool guys. We're fun. We like to joke around. So, Josh, we're sitting here in your man cave, in your fortress of Joshitude. We're surrounded by all these cool collections you have and comic book paraphernalia and stuff like that. And I felt like this is a great place to do it because it just feels like a comfort zone for us. It is. It's home. It's not just your physical home. I mean,
we could probably do an entire podcast on just my man cave, and it's not even finished yet.
No, it's not.
It's in the very early stages, but I couldn't wait to hang things up here and there. And those of you who have been fortunate enough to step into the cave, you know what we're talking about. There's all kinds of cool stuff down here. I have way too many toys, more than a grown man should have. We'll say
but
that.
You don't play with them. You collect them.
I collect them because
one
day, those 6 Thanos statues over there are probably going to put my daughter through college. So
it'll be worth
if I can part with them,
it'll be worth it. Absolutely worth it.
But in the meantime, it's fun for me to have it. So
I want to know is what are you going to do if one day Emma gets a little older and accidentally unboxes a very important pop?
I've already thought about this, actually, because I'm actually that concerned about it. Well, if you've seen the Lego movie, spoiler, in the end, the dad is like the real life version of the villain from the Legoland, and he has all these cool Legos, but he doesn't let his kid play with them, so he's the villain in the story the kid makes up. I don't want to be
the villain.
I don't want to be Lord Business. I don't want to be Will Ferrell in the Lego movie. So if Emma unboxes, Emma, if you're listening, please don't unbox Daddy's Pops. But if you do, I'll forgive you and we'll play with the pop together. And maybe I can still get like half of the value.
Half the value. You're that worried you have a plan?
Yeah.
But it's smart though. It's smart to have a backup plan. And I kid. I mean, I'm not the collector that you and our friend Logan are, but I do have a few. I bust you all's chops quite a bit about the pop hunting experience and the constant talking back and forth. But really, it's really cool to see them all, especially those Thanos all together. That's really cool.
I have the Walmart series of pops of Thanos, and it's like a set of 6, and each one represents a different Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. There's a chrome, orange, red, yellow, blue, purple, and green.
Really cool.
And if we did a pod on Funko Pops, I could tell you the secret about that Thanos over there and why his face is different than all the other ones. You're dying to know. I know it. So tune in.
Tune in. One day we'll talk about his pops.
Oh, Lord.
So, we thought for our
silly
first official podcast, we would basically just kind of tell you a little bit about ourselves.
Who are these? Who are you?
Who are you?
I want to know.
Who are you?
I want you to show me.
I got it.
I want to know who you are.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
got
the
it.
right song.
I got it. So, it really is the reason we're doing this. I mean, it's really a cool time to be, quote unquote, a nerd.
Yeah.
Because our nerd culture, not just with Marvel and DC, but with like Game of Thrones and science fiction and fantasy that is thriving in this.
You know what happened was that all the kids that grew up on Star Wars and things like that, and the 80s, we had it good in the 90s, but the people from the 80s did too, and they had a lot of fandom like that. The Back to the Future kids, and all that.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
All those kids grew up and said, now we're going to make even better movies.
Yes.
And that's why it's so popular everywhere. Everybody watches Game of Thrones and the Marvel movies. And
absolutely.
All that stuff. Everybody's a nerd, pretty much. Now,
pretty much.
Some more than others like us, but...
that people are nerding out about.
Right.
And it could be something as... And there are even nerds who think nerds are nerds sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, I nerd out to things like Supernatural, Kingdom Hearts, the Marvel movies, the DC movies. But I've never touched a card game like Magic or something like that. Me. That is not my nerd.
I'm not the D&D guy.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of stuff. I respect that. I'm never going to judge that.
True nerds might say we're superficial nerds.
That's a good point. Maybe we are.
I think I probably am.
Possibly. Maybe.
I like what everybody else likes. I'm a follower, not a leader.
Oh no. You're a basic nerd. No, you're not.
Is that a thing now? Did you just make that a thing?
I just made it a thing. Speaking of making a thing, I created a word for our podcast. Like, whenever we talk about the knowledge a nerd has, I'm going to call it Nerdledge. Nerd knowledge. See? You marry the words together.
Somebody call Daniel Webster.
Right? Nerdledge. Speaking of Nerdledge, we're going to fill you in on some Nerdledge about us. Some of our favorite things. And that way you can get to know the players a little bit as we move forward. You don't have to...
You're a player.
I am not. Don't say that. My girlfriend might be listening.
Just kidding. He's a great guy.
So, we're going to do a little Q&A. You cool with that?
Do I have a choice?
Well, no, you don't have a choice.
All right.
So we're going to go through...
I'm not going to leave until I do it. So.
That's true. I will not leave until you do this Q&A with me. So, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you're going to give me a series of answers.
Yes,
some of them are multiple answers, stuff like that. So we're going to start out with, where did it all begin for Josh? What was your first nerd out? What was the first
When did I know I'm one of the nerds?
Yeah, when did you, was it a cartoon? Was it, what was it?
For me, I think the first big obsession I had in this world was the Power Rangers. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The real
original.
OGs. As the
the
kids say.
OGRs.
My former students are so proud of me right now.
Yeah.
I know it. Not only because I said OG, but because I'm doing a podcast about this. The Power Rangers, that was my first big thing. And I remember going through the first few years of elementary school, and if something went on after school, like if my mom didn't have me picked up and didn't have me at somewhere in front of a TV at 4:30 or 5 or whenever Power Rangers came on, I was devastated.
Your day was ruined.
Was just like, my whole day was ruined, and someone at school is going to have to catch me up on what happened on Power Rangers, and they're not going to retell it as good as it should be told, and they wouldn't be able to do it like if I would tell them.
Yeah.
I know I would tell it better than them.
Absolutely.
It's all going to be ruined, and I'm going to have no idea what's going to go on.
You might as well stop the week.
And it just... I'm exaggerating a lot here. But, I mean, I was really upset. We'll put it that way. Yeah. So I remember that was the first one, and I had all the toys and all the little...
Did you have I had green, red, and black of the toy that, they're in their morph suit. It's their human head, but if you push a button, it flipped real quick, and it's their morph.
I had some of those.
I
remember having the ones that were really opposable, and on the belt was a button, and they would say, "Oh, it's morphin' time," or whatever. I had 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah, I had a little wrist communicator too.
Yeah.
You could say Zordon. It's morphin' time. It didn't work the way it did in the show, which was off-putting, but I looked cool. I thought I looked cool.
Should have got a refund on that.
I should have.
So I went from Power Rangers to Star Wars, to, oh gosh, Harry Potter was huge for a long time. Wrestling, WWE, WCW, all those old wrestling, 90s wrestling was where it was at.
Legit.
rings. Those of you who know me know that I have half of my left leg forever dedicated to Ian McKellen as Gandalf.
You're going to have to... We'll do a Lord of the Rings pod, and you can tell the ancient story of you getting to show Ian McKellen your tattoo.
It's true. It's a true story. One day I'll tell it. I get teased for talking about it because anybody that sees my tattoo and compliments it, I automatically start gushing about, oh, Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen loved it.
So,
you
anyway.
do.
So how about you? What were your...
My first big nerd out was to the Darkwing Duck series. I absolutely loved the terror that flaps in the night.
It's interesting because that's just like one solo TV show
instead
of a huge franchise.
Well,
I was always a franchise kid.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is just that basic, like, Saturday morning cartoons where Darkwing Duck was on, the X-Men 90s TV series was on, then obviously the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, huge Green Ranger fan. I did also watch this show, I don't know if anyone else, is called Beetleborgs.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that earlier today. That there
had the blue clown
yes,
guy.
Flabber.
I don't remember any of the names.
I don't remember the other names.
I just remember that they tried really hard to be Power Rangers and it didn't work,
so
I didn't care.
They failed miserably. But it started with Darkwing Duck. I actually had the costume for Darkwing Duck, and I was him a couple times for Halloween when I was a kid. And I had toys of Darkwing Duck, and I had every VHS episode of Darkwing Duck.
My mom dressed me as a tree for Halloween.
Ooh.
That's a true story, by the way. I've seen the picture.
A tree?
A tree. You got to be Darkwing Duck. I was a tree. Thanks, Mom.
We did Halloween big at my house. I mean, it was an epic holiday. What some people today do Christmas, we did Halloween. I mean, our outside decorations, the costumes we do. I mean, it was we did great, and I don't want to make you jealous, but it was great. So
I was a tree.
You were a tree.
What's your next question?
Josh was a tree. My next question is, what is your favorite thing about our nerd culture? The world of nerd.
I love that it is spread so far and that it is so prominent in our culture and in our media today.
Mm-hmm.
And that everybody loves it and everybody can find a character that they relate to and that they love and identify with in some way. And that there's something for everybody and that people like us can get together and have friendships based on their love of these things. I think that's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, that's good. I'd have to say my favorite thing is outside of, like, if you disagree with who someone aligns themselves with, like DC and Marvel, even in the DC world, Batman and Superman fans bicker all the time about who's just a better all-around favorite. Aside from that, everyone gets along pretty good. There's not a whole lot of judgment. There's not a whole lot of hate or jeering within the nerd culture. Now, like you said, it's becoming more prominent today. So the term nerd isn't what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the stereotypical
When he says,
glasses.
like I said, he's referring to a conversation we had yesterday. You all were not a part of that.
Yes, you weren't a part of that. The term nerd,
Sucks for you.
Yeah.
And now you are.
We really should just walk around like this all the time. So we can just basically record every conversation we have.
I'm hooked.
It'd be golden.
I'm hooked.
I mean, I smell money in this. We'd have our own show.
Well, I hope it whops over this way a little bit.
So, I love that. I love that everyone has a place.
I agree.
What's your least favorite thing?
I think maybe I'm just easy to please or something. But I feel like there is toxic fandom where people just tear things apart no matter what it is or how good it is. It's never enough. People are never satisfied. And, oh, it's garbage. They should have done this, they should have done that. When I think we should just accept it for what it is. Have your opinion about it or whatever, but this is what it is, so we should appreciate what we got, you know? And that includes...
So, like...
I'm just happy that there's
tearing it down is not going to change what it was.
Right.
We have it.
Yeah. Let's be glad that it's out there, that they're, we're still getting Star Wars and...
Yeah.
Superheroes and things like that, And we just... a discussion for another time. We have very different opinions of The Last Jedi.
Yes, we do.
And I'm in the minority on that. I know.
Which is a shock. I mean, I thought disliking some parts, I would be in the minority. But we'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
So, I would have to say my least favorite part is almost like it's still not taken as serious as I think it should be. Like, just this year, a superhero film won an Oscar. And it's about time.
You're talking about Into the Spider-Verse?
Not just Into the Spider-Verse, Black Panther won an Oscar as well.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's finally being... But they've had to go how long and do certain things a certain way to even be considered by the Academy? And I know that overall, critiquing-wise, like Siskel and Ebert that we grew up with, those kind of critics and all that.
Over-critique.
They're obviously not going to look at a comic book
no
film.
matter what it is, like, the next movie could bring Carrie Fisher back from the dead, which they sort of are in a way.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to see her in some form.
Yeah, she has
in the trailer.
scenes.
So, short of that, and even with that, I feel like so many fanboys out there would just not care. There's nothing that's going to happen with Star Wars that I think is going to make everybody happy. They're not going to be satisfied no matter what.
Okay, I agree. Other than that, I think that's my least favorite thing. So, superhero-wise, we're going to delve into some of our favorites. This will be male-female. I'll ask you a question, you give me male and female. So, Marvel, who is your favorite male? Who is your favorite female?
Well, anyone who knows me knows that my number one favorite superhero of all time is Spider-Man. That's been the case since as long as I can remember. I remember coming home after school to my grandmother's house to watch the animated X-Men, Spider-Man, and Batman. Those cartoons were on every day.
Yeah.
After school. But Spider-Man was always my number one guy, and he still is to this day. And female, I really have always liked Jean Grey for some reason. I just like all her power, and I like the ones that can fly. I think that's cool. And she's very elegant, and it's like she can effortlessly do things, make things fly around and control people with her mind just by waving her hand. And I think that's really cool. So,
I mean, she's almost kind of like there's a Jedi aspect to it. So,
doing it with flair. I love that.
Mine have always been, my male has always been Wolverine, Weapon X. I love Wolverine. I actually used to have a very big inflatable of Wolverine. Huge inflatable of Wolverine in my room when I was a kid. I think I loved his brashness, his anti-authority, because I've always been very fall in line, kind of. And that goes to say with a lot of my, like, I love not the leader, not the Captain America, but the
anti-hero.
The anti-hero-esque. And my female has always been Rogue. The done right Rogue. The animated Rogue.
The one we know.
The one we know. The comic book Rogue. Sugar. you know. So, your favorite villain in the Marvel Universe, male and female?
Oh, a female villain?
I think you could...
Phoenix.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was going to say,
Jean Grey
on the other side of that coin,
together.
Jean could be your favorite hero, and Phoenix could be your favorite villain.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
And the male is Magneto. Another one who can fly, and he's
just effortless.
And he's a strong leader. And
yes.
He can, and plus, Ian McKellen doing the movies made me love Magneto that much more.
Is that what you're going to get on your other leg?
I thought about it.
Magneto, Ian McKellen's Magneto. I'd have to say my favorite Marvel villain is Carnage. I think that there is just a scary aspect of just ravishing things just to do it. There's no, I had a bad job. I mean, he is a symbiote, sure, but the symbiote picked an already psychotic human being to host. So, that makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
And he's so bad that Venom helps Spider-Man beat him.
Well, his name is Carnage for a reason. They
for
didn't
a reason.
call him like mild or
medium.
Chaos, craziness,
decently bad
Carnage.
guy. And I'd have to agree with you with Dark Phoenix. I love the Dark Phoenix arc because it shows, it's almost like she is one of the most purest of female heroes in the Marvel Universe. But like that, on a bad day, the Phoenix could come out and she could destroy everybody.
Well, the fact that she's able to hold it in shows you just how strong she is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
DC. We're going to go to my world now with the DC Universe. Favorite hero, male and female?
You go first.
Okay. Favorite male hero is obviously the Caped Crusader. It has to be Batman. I have been a Batman fan. Actually, on my mantle at the house, there's this picture of a Batman came to the mall and took pictures as if he were Santa Claus. And there's a picture of me sitting on Batman's lap, and I have my little cape and little Robin-type mask. And it's adorable, obviously, because I'm in it.
Oh.
But Batman always, because he proves that, yes, I know the age-old argument, he has money. But I truly believe that Bruce Wayne, without money, would have still found a way to fight. To be a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
His money helps, but it's not what makes him the hero. It's not what he... What is it he says? It's not what he is that defines him, but what he does. That defines who he is. I agree with that. So, and a female, I love the Black Canary. I love her intensity, her tenacity. I love her relationship with Oliver Queen in the comics. And they did decent with her in the show. But I love the Black Canary.
Okay, I will also say Batman. Or actually, no, I don't want to say Batman. Unpopular, uncommon answer here, I bet. Nightwing.
Okay.
I like Nightwing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've always seen you as my sidekick.
Yeah, oh that hurt. I'll choose Nightwing, and then to be honest, I don't have a favorite female DC hero because there aren't really many that are well known. There's obviously a lot of females in the universe, but how many everyday people, casual viewers, readers, whatever, the casual audience, how many of them are going to know any heroes other than Wonder Woman? Supergirl, maybe. Maybe
Batgirl. But I guarantee you the average person could not name on one hand 5 female DC superheroes.
But with Marvel, I bet they could.
Absolutely, with Marvel, they could.
Okay, right. So that's why I'm saying, and that's maybe DC needs to step it up in that area.
If you're listening,
hint,
step it up.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. All right, so DC villains, male and female.
The Riddler and Poison Ivy. I like the Riddler's fancy bougie suits.
Yes.
And his cane. And that he's intelligent and witty.
Well, he attacks the Dark Knight in a way that no other villains really do.
Yeah.
He attacks his mind,
Mm-hmm.
his education, his wit. And I love that. That makes him, unlike the rest.
Poison Ivy because...
Save the planet, man. Oh, yeah. She's beautiful.
She is.
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Those are two great choices.
No, she's just... I like the strong kind of... What's the word I'm looking for?
Sultry.
Yeah.
She's very sultry.
Yeah.
She is.
And I like that they play up the fact that she uses men as, to get what she wants and as tools and like.
Well, in all honesty, she's very empowered female-wise.
Yeah, I love that.
And she's very. She really only does a lot of what she wants to do to save Mother Earth. So is she a villain?
Go green.
Is what makes her a villain how she does it. It's not her idea that makes her a villain. She just wants to save the Earth.
Most villains are heroes in their own eyes.
In their own eyes.
She definitely falls in
Except
that
for
category.
my favorite villain, the Joker. He just wants to watch the world burn. He didn't have some dark, oh, my parents died and I'm going to get revenge on everybody. He didn't have a freak accident happen to me and I'm going to make the world pay. He is just... Sure, he fell in a vat of acid. He's a criminal. He is... I just want to laugh and kill. And cause chaos. And I love that. But I also think what made me fall in love with the character of the Joker was Mark Hamill's animated Joker.
Me too.
And just that laugh. And the way he talked to just... Hello, Batman! Just very... Because we saw him as Luke. As kids, and then when you really find out... I didn't know for years.
Until I was an adult.
Yeah, I didn't know until... I believe I found out when he returned to the Arkham games.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't find out until the first Arkham game.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't want to know voice actors at that point. But my favorite... And you probably make a joke, but for some reason my favorite DC villain is Talia al Ghul. I don't know why. I wish... There are a slew of amazing DC female villains. There's Killer Frost, there's Poison Ivy, there's Catwoman to an extent. But I love Talia. She also is an empowered woman, very sultry. Hello, beloved. I just love her.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears to the video gaming world. What is your favorite video game of all time?
I don't think that I could choose a favorite of all time. I would consider myself a gamer, but I am not. The people I know who call themselves gamers, they are like. They go hard.
They're gamers.
I mean, they are gamers.
Yes.
So, that's not me. And I didn't grow up with, like, brothers and sisters my own age. So, I always grew up playing video games by myself. Insert sad music.
Yeah, insert sad music.
I know that's part of the fun is the competitiveness of it and everything. But I never really had the chance to do that. So, games that I played... on my own and really enjoyed would be like Star Fox 64 and
classic quality game.
Yeah, and there were different paths you could take to get different levels.
Yeah,
so I would do a different one like every day. The more recently, Marvel Ultimate Alliance was a big favorite that still holds up. I could play that one over and over again. And then I've loved the Batman Arkham games, especially.
Oh, they've been fantastic. Proof that I would love to see Rocksteady and them take on another, Green Arrow or Flash.
Yeah.
Because they just developed fantastic games.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'd be good, but I don't think that
nothing would
work
beat
as well because it's Batman.
Because he's a detective.
And people know Batman.
You've got the Riddler things to find. You've got it's not just boom boom smash smash beat the storyline and the game's over. There's so much that you can do.
I could see them doing it as like a, because they got to the point in a couple of them where you could switch and be Catwoman and all that. Maybe they could do something like that where
it's a Justice
League or
at
least Superman and Batman or Flash and Batman and Superman and whatever.
The founding members. That'd be kind of cool.
Something like that.
So
what other games did you...
I did grow up with... Me and my brother played Nintendo 64 games against each other a lot. Along with our friend Caleb. And we did play a lot of those like Mario Karts and Super Smash and GoldenEye. And it was great stuff, but my favorite of all time has to be Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Because I think that it paved the way for games like today, like Skyrim and those RPG games. Multi-screen, bigger worlds RPG games. Which this question begs the question, what's your favorite system? I mean, I think we were spoiled. I think we grew up with the best system.
Yeah, we were lucky to be the generation that kind of came in on the tail end of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
We were really young when we got the Nintendo 64 and kind of like, 9,
middle
10-ish
school
or so when the PlayStation came out. And man, at the time, there was nothing like the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Remember when you realized that the games were CDs?
Yeah.
And now, kids today would...
Well, kids today could get on their Xbox and not have to worry about a disc.
Yeah.
Especially with Fortnite running around.
Yeah.
I would agree. We were kind of spoiled because we had Super Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Xbox. But
for nostalgia's sake and for younger me, I'm going to say the Nintendo 64.
I would agree. I'd absolutely wholeheartedly agree. So what nerd fandom of today still it's not your nostalgic nerdom, but something that goes on today that you just nerd out about?
I'm going to say the MCU, even though the characters have been around for far longer than the movies. What Disney has done and the MCU and the universe that they've built.
Yeah.
Unbeatable. Nobody can touch it. I don't think we'll ever see anything like it. And the fact that it's caused the whole world to pay attention to superheroes and
in the billions
records.
now.
Smashed records.
Not even a week since it's opened, and it's in the billions.
Yeah.
Destroyed records. I would have to say Supernatural. I geek out over Supernatural. I love that show. All 15,000
seasons.
Next season it does end, and I will be sad, but it's ending on its terms, and it's been a great, a great thing to nerd out on. It really has. So, I know we talked about sitting here in your room of pops, but do you have you still have a nerd artifact?
A relic?
Relic from, I wouldn't even say your 5 and 6-year-old childhood, but something that you were nerding out about that you still have, maybe from elementary or middle school.
No, somewhere at my mother's house, I have all of my old wrestling toys stored away somewhere.
Really?
I don't know that I'll ever get rid of them. I've talked about it a lot. I'll never, pay any attention to them really ever again, so I should try to get rid of them, but...
I don't know, man.
I don't know. There's just something about it that... I spend a lot of time playing with those things.
Yeah.
All my old Star Wars toys that are, loose.
Yeah.
If I think back to 7 or 8-year-old me, he would be so... distraught that I would have so many toys that I wouldn't open, that they would just sit in boxes. He'd be like, "What are you doing, man?" So.
I definitely would have to say I have a life-size Keyblade.
Yes.
From Kingdom Hearts 2. I have Mickey Mouse's Keyblade. And it's made out of oak. It's very strong, and it actually could hurt somebody if swung. And it's just really cool, and it's something I wouldn't want to get rid of. So, speaking of wrestling, what is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Who's my favorite wrestler of all time? That would be Sting. He was the first one that I was drawn to when I started watching as a kid. I've always loved Sting, and all of his old stuff that he did in the '90s, even the flat top Beach
Surfer
Boy
Sting. Beach Boy
it was
Sting.
fun to watch. So that's my number one guy.
Cool. I like Sting. We got to meet him, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Mine has
Really
definitely
nice
been Shawn Michaels, HBK.
Yep.
My entire life. Close second would be Undertaker, but there's just something about Shawn. I mean,
I love Sean too.
he's the showstopper.
Yeah.
I mean, we listened to a podcast not too long ago where his words are, "If I can't be the showstopper, I'm not stepping foot in that ring. I'm not going to give you a B plus or C plus performance. If I can't be Shawn Michaels, don't ask me to do something."
Yeah.
And I respect that. I love that. So we're going to finish up the questions here with, what's your favorite day in the history of nerddom? Favorite day. Favorite moment in nerd history.
I'm biased, and all my answers are Marvel based, but I think we just experienced it. I think Endgame was. I read something online about people saying that Endgame is going to be for kids like what Star Wars was for a generation one time. Like, they're going to remember who they were with, where they were when they saw Endgame for the first time, because it's so big and it's so well done.
Absolutely.
And the fact that it has all of these heroes over the course of 10 years and 22 movies
Together.
all in one. This massive story. There'll never be anything like this ever again. And I think that was the happiest day.
Okay. Mine is a Marvel. Shocking, I know. Mine actually led us to the end game. It was the post-credit scene of Iron Man when Nick Fury has broken into Tony's house. And he says, he gives him the whole spiel, and he's like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Nick Fury. I'd like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative."
Right.
Ends. And that moment, you're like, oh, so that's where we're going with this.
Which was exciting, but we had no idea that it would become what it is today.
Yeah, you had no idea. And I know we're going to have the same one, and I don't think it's biased, because I know it's a Marvel moment. But
but it was really a moment for everybody.
I really think it was. The saddest
Stan Lee.
moment in nerd history was the death of Stan Lee.
Yeah.
It felt like we lost our grandfather.
I had the next day at school, at work, I had a coworker walk up to me and she said, and she was pretty serious. She said, "I feel like I should come say I'm sorry for your loss." Because people know how much this stuff means to me.
Yeah.
Which is one reason, that we're doing this. But people know that about me. That's me. That's what I love.
Yeah.
And it did kind of hit me hard. I had a couple of days I was really bummed out about Stan Lee. So.
Well, and I think that sometimes we thought that, guys, I think we had so many conversations when he'd get sick. Like, what sucks is I don't think it's going to be long
I saw the man in 2014, and I thought in person he looked terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, Stan Lee is not long for this world. And then he still made it another
5 years.
4 or 5 years. Crazy.
And it was like but he's immortalized. His body's gone. But Stan Lee
had a lot to live for, man. He had the gratitude of millions of people.
I think that's why he lived.
He had a long, loving marriage, from what we know.
Yeah.
And she passed a few months or so before he did.
Well, and who else did that happen to?
Johnny and June.
Sure.
So,
they say that happened.
Not to mention, one of Stan's favorite things was that he had tons of money. So,
yeah.
He joked about his money all the
He
time.
had I have a lot of money.
So, yeah, he had a lot to live for. And I think he enjoyed his life, and we are all a lot better off because of him.
Because of him, absolutely.
Rip Stan.
Rest in peace, Stan. So I'm going to end this with not even a comic. I'm going to end this from inside the actor studio. What is your least favorite word ever?
Can I think about it? Can you?
You want me to tell you mine?
Yeah. I know yours, but you can tell me.
You want me to say it? It's moist. That's the worst word.
I've never understood people being grossed out or weirded out by words.
It's just a terrible word, man.
Sometimes if I think about words and like really sound them out, and like words like jaundice, mesothelioma, those are such strange words.
Formula.
Formula?
That's a weird one.
They don't really bother me.
It's just weird if you think about it. Me and my dad used to giggle. There was a Nickelodeon game show where these two British people hosted, and they'd always say you have to swim around the buoy, and the way they'd say buoy always made me and Dad laugh. Like buoy, you have to paddle around the buoy. It's like, buoy.
What a thing!
You idiot. But
buoy.
Buoy. So that's a little bit of Q&A for us. And I'm sure that over the next little while we do these, we'll throw out some more facts about ourselves, interesting stories. But you can ask us questions. We love to get asked questions. We have a Facebook page.
Except for what is my phone number? I'm happily married.
He's happily married, and I have a girlfriend, so we cannot be giving out our phone numbers. So, our Facebook page is 30 and Nerdy Podcast. It is got a fantastic picture done by David Nunes, and you can comment on there, ask us questions that you may like to or give us suggestions. You know, if you want us to talk about one specific movie in the Marvel Universe, or the DC Universe, or a Disney film, we'll dissect it. We'll talk about it. You can also email us at 30, that's 30, not the word 30, 30, and nerdypod@gmail.com. So, you know what, man? That's our first official one in the books.
Good grief.
First one. Hopefully of many.
It was the mothership.
Yeah, this is our Genesis project. Every great story has a Genesis. That's is ours.
What they say.
That's what they say. So I think we should,
snap the old...
snap the gauntlet on this one.
Snap the gauntlet and see what comes of it?
Yeah, and we'll see what comes of this.
Alright. Adios there people.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for so long, and hopefully you'll come back sometime and listen to us again.
Yeah.
Maybe you can join us. Maybe you can be a part of the conversation.
I like that idea. Maybe hold a contest. Because we're so important. Well, we'll
Out
talk
of
to
two people, you both won.
One of them's Logan, and we won't let him on. Alright, we'll talk to you later, nerds.
Adios. Bye-bye.